father found out I was thugging, do you believe me when I tell you you the one I'm loving? Are you mad cause I'm asking you 21 questions? Are you my soulmate? Cause if so, girl, you a blessing. Do you trust me enough to tell me your dreams? I'm staring at you trying to figure how you got in them jeans. If I was down, would you say things to make me smile? I treat you how you wanna be treated, just teach me how. If I was with some other chick and someone happened to see, and when you asked me about it, I said it wasn't me, would you believe me or up and leave me? How deep is our bond if that's all it takes for you to be gone? We only humans, girl, we make mistakes to make it up, I do whatever it takes. I love you like a fat kid love cake. You know my style, I say anything to make you smile.
Good morning, my people. Prayer 69, my voice, our agenda. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Got a lot to talk about. Got a couple of videos I got to do. My voice, our agenda. I hope everybody is doing well. We have a lot to talk about. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. First, I want to give thanks to my God for waking me up this morning, to give me another opportunity to reach out to my people. With Him, we are everything. Without Him, we're nothing. Always remember that. Always remember that. All right, we got to start cooking right now. Let's start cooking. Man, this world is going crazy right now. First, I want to start off with Minnesota, the situation that happened out there with the young lady being murdered by ICE, the federal ICE law enforcement that was out there in Minnesota kidnapping people under the guidance of President Trump. It was definitely an unfortunate situation for the young lady to get killed. And rest in peace to her. My condolences go out to her and her family. That situation was brewing. We all knew at some point a tragedy was going to occur of that magnitude, with the way they were moving all over the country, not just Minnesota, all over the country. They are placed in an engineered form. I'm going to repeat that. In an engineered form, they were placed in our American cities. This is the blueprint of the 1930s in Germany, when martial law was declared and they sent the military out to the streets to control everyone, every citizen. People don't know what martial law is. Martial law is basically just put in place during certain situations. Our Constitution is the rule of law. Most places, like third world countries, martial law is given by dictators. dictatorship is what brings power, and it creates chaos because the rule of law is substituted by martial law. So in this country, martial law is supposed to be circumstances. It's supposed to be certain circumstances and situations where martial law is supposed to be implemented. It's a temporary rule by military authorities of a designated area in a time of emergency when civil authorities are deemed unable to function. The legal effects of a declaration of martial law differ in various jurisdictions, right? But they generally involve suspension of normal civil rights and the extension to the civilian population of summary military justice or of military law. Although the temporary entirety in a state of martial law may in fact continue indefinitely. So martial law is just something that's put in place when the civilian population is out of control. When there's an emergency of national security or riots and civil uprising. That's when the military becomes the law. Your normal law that you have under the Constitution is suspended. Why am I giving you the breakdown of martial law? Well, this is where we need to read as civilians, as Americans. We need to go back and read and pay attention to 1930s. In the 1930s in Asia and third world countries and other third world countries where uh, they implemented the martial law to control society, which is usually done under dictatorship. Trump is acting like a king in a third world country. He's acting like a dictator, like North Korea, China, Russia, uh, places like that, where he feels like he's above the law. So his administration engineered this whole thing where he's going to put ICE, border agents, National Guard in our American streets. What do you think was going to happen? At some point, something was going to break. You have those that's out here that disagree with it and they protest. Sometimes protests become violent, or it's just a peaceful protest. But when you arm ICE agents with weapons and they put masks on and they got tattoos on, just white supremacy. So you not only have majority of white men that's putting on armor gear, um, putting covering their face up so they can't be identified. But you also have the identities of white supremacy. So you put all of that in one basket. A whole bunch of them all over the country running around, um, controlling the streets with no guidance. Homeland Security, Christie, Nome, J.D. Vance, the Vice President of America, and Donald Trump, the President of America. They all got together and they engineered this situation because they're waiting for a situation where things are going to erupt. This is why that murder that was taking place in Minnesota last week, where the young lady got shot in the head by the ICE agent. This is why we all need to wake up. But although that killing of the young lady in Minnesota was highlighted, I want to put you on to another murder that happened in LA. Keith Porter, a young black man, African American man, that was murdered by an off-duty ICE agent. Right? Nobody's really talking about it. It's it's all about Renee Good. Renee Good is the young lady that was murdered in Minnesota by the ICE agent. And I'm not taking anything away from that. What I'm saying is that the media coverage is flooding the airwaves about the murder of Renee Good, the young lady that was killed in Minnesota while trying to pull away from ICE agents in her car. Well, Keith Porter, the young black man in LA that was killed by an off-duty ICE agent. I think it happened in Northridge, California. I keep saying LA, I don't know why, but I guess it's in the LA County, I guess, right? So according to the report, uh, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment, and he went to investigate. Now this is his account of it, and they said the agent then encountered Keith Porter with a long rifle. Now you're not a police officer, you are an ICE agent. Even though they consider that as a law enforcement agent, he didn't call the police. He just wanted to investigate it and decided to take matters into his own hands. I get to report that Porter was firing off shots into the air, celebrating and observing the holiday, which I've never agreed with. I don't know why people do that, but That's what he was doing. That's what he was allegedly. That's what he was doing. Um, and I guess this is what people do during the holidays. Even where I'm at in Connecticut, you got people running around firing off the guns on New Year's. They do it all over the country, to celebrate the New Year coming in. They start firing off their guns and stuff like that. So allegedly, they said Keith Porter was doing that. Um, and it's unfortunate that he had to die. But I'm not going to feed too much into it because it's an ongoing investigation. But I just wanted to point that out. Outside of Renee Good, there's another incident involving an ICE agent where he had fired his firearm and a life was lost. How long is this going to go on? This is just the beginning. They have free will to fire their weapons whenever they feel like it because they have the support of the White House and the Trump administration. They have the support from the Homeland Security. So they will not be reprimanded. They will not be charged with murder. They will not be charged with any crime. And that's what makes the whole situation with the occupation of ICE agents in our American streets so concerning. It's very concerning for our young people, our older people, whether you white, black, blue, brown, doesn't even matter. Because it shows that a black man was killed in California from an off-duty ICE agent, and then you have a white woman, American citizens. We're not talking about immigrants. We're not talking about terrorist people. We're not talking about anybody that was in the midst of committing a crime outside of the allegedly Keith Porter firing a gun. But we're talking about American citizens being gunned down in the middle of our streets. This is unacceptable. But this is what happens when it's under dictatorship. This is what happens. This is why we have to go out and vote and get these idiots out of here. This is not a mistake. It's engineered. It was blueprinted to take over America, to be aggressive. And he's not just doing this on a national level. He's not just doing this in America. He is breaking laws, ignoring the laws of the land internationally and domestically. When you can go into another sovereign country and kidnap two people and cook up this fake thing about drugs when you know you're there for oil. You go into Venezuela and you kidnap two people, the president of Venezuela. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying none of that. What I'm saying is that who are we to continue to break international laws? First, you was blowing up boats with $1 million bombs, killing people. You had no right to do that in the international waters, saying they were transporting drugs. But yet, you just pardoned a drug kingpin. That had like 400 keys, maybe more than that. I don't even know the exact number. Kilos of cocaine. You just pardoned him. So how much do you give a damn about drug trafficking? to say, I'm going to kidnap these president and his wife and bring them back to America and indict him and charge him with drug trafficking when you just pardoned one of the biggest drug traffickers in the world. The American people don't see that. We're so dumb. We just we bypass all of that. We don't understand what's going on around us. This man has engineered and put together a blueprint to cause chaos. He wants to cause a major war between China and Russia. You see, it all coincides to what's going on in Minnesota and what happened in California with Renee Good and Keith Porter. And why would I say that? Why do I say that? This is about the mindset of a president of the United States ignoring the Constitution, ignoring the laws of our land, removing the laws of our land, and declaring martial law, knowing that the military becomes the law. He knows this. He knows there's going to be a lot of pushback from the American people. And with that comes protests. And with protests becomes chaos. And with chaos, it becomes murder. It becomes death. And then all of that is focus. There's a lot of media. Everybody's talking about it. I'm talking about it. Social media, podcasts, local news, international news. Everybody's talking about that. So now we're distracted. Now we're blind. Oh, he went over there for the oil. He went over there for this, But there's something else underneath that's going on that we don't know about yet. And this is why I say people need to read. So my condolences go out to Renee Good family. My condolences go out to Keith Porter family. And I want y'all to pay attention. Hit that like button. Subscribe, share. My voice, our agenda. Integrity is all we got. Integrity is all we got. Either you have it or you don't. My voice, our agenda. I salute to everybody out there that read books, that pay attention, that know what's going on around them. This is not a third world country. We shouldn't be under dictatorship. But I'll be back with another video and to explain to you how it can all end. It can all end very soon. And I'll get back to that. All right. My voice, our agenda. Y'all have a good day. God bless. Prayer 69. Salute.